All right, here we go. The week in review. Got some good dashboard time in this week, driving around, going here, there, and everywhere. Was able to take in some pretty good content from a podcasting perspective, I suppose. Did a deeper dive into the whole Chat GPT and AI thing. Came across those AI generated images of women that look completely real. Apparently, as this technology improves and grows, it's going to become harder and harder to distinguish what is real from what is AI computer generated. So, I think what we're going to need to teach our kids more than anything is how to think critically, because they're going to be able to pull up this website, put in their homework assignment, and say, do it for me. Write a report on the War of 1812. Well, there it is. And then you can say, well, do me a favor, rewrite it 3 or 4 times so that it doesn't match any of the other kids' reports. So anyway, I think the key is that they need to be able to think critically. They need to be able to distinguish falsehood from fiction. They need to be able to tell and also have the values as to say, well, what is important? Is simply an aesthetically pleasing body important? Is somebody that is compliant with me and doesn't argue with me or give me a hard time important? Or is reality and flaws and imperfections and being able to learn from negotiating those imperfections give you some sort of value in your life? So definitely something to think about. As I'm raising my kids, I just try to keep that screen time to a minimum. I know it is a part of their lives, and it is something that's a part of all of our lives. I get that daily report or whatever weekly report. It'd be like, your screen time was up. You did 6 hours a day. It's like, what? How is that possible? But it also is probably counting the time that I'm driving and I'm using the map and using the podcast thing. So, if I'm listening to a podcast and I'm driving using the map, I don't necessarily count that as being on my phone, because even in an earlier era, I could have been listening to like a book on tape or, right? Like, I'm not necessarily just like scrolling through my phone or doing email or doing something that's just a time waster. Although, I do think at least 15 minutes to 45 minutes a day gets stolen looking at some of these, just these short videos that pop up that just tease you into watching the next one. But anyway, so today, well, what I think needs to happen, I need to journal more and get back into the 3 pages of journaling, because I feel like that keeps my mind fresh and focused. It also keeps me more optimistic, because I think it gets a lot of the junk out of my head and my life. Today is Monday, March 13th, and I like to try to do these on Sunday nights, but I think as long as it's the beginning of the week, reflecting on the week prior, the object of the mission is accomplished. So last Monday, so I'm saying I need to do more journaling. I need to be persistent in my networking and follow-up. And that action could even look like studying more of the stuff from BNI, Business Networking International, from Ivan Misner on his podcast. Just giving you that as a reference point. There's a lot of great strategies there to growing your network as if you were a farmer, not a hunter, not going after sales as if you're going out to kill something, but more that you're going out there to farm a relationship that's going to bear fruit over time. And that's been my sales strategy for quite a while. Need to get more posts on social media this week. Maybe even explore other social media channels that I'm not using, such as Twitter and or TikTok. Twitter, obviously, having been around for a long time and very established. TikTok, pretty much completely established for a long time. But It's not something that necessarily everybody of my generation has fully bought into, but it can't hurt to again always stay current and be trying to be it be comfortable with using the platforms available to you, I suppose. And learning a new platform can always be good for your brain. So Monday last week, I hung out at a hospital that I'm trying to build business at. I stayed there all day. Did not necessarily get the meetings or the connections that I wanted to, but I was able to have lunch with a key person that helped move things forward, that then ended up paying off pretty much by the end of the week. So Monday to Friday, I had a dialogue going that came to fruition. So that I'll fill that in as I go along. Tuesday, there was a call with a team, a sub-team within my company that was trying to build, basically work out some contracting stuff with one of my accounts. That was fine. That also moved things forward. Wednesday, biggest learning lesson of the week. Got into a tough situation where we may or may not have had everything that we thought we had prepared. Basically, the bottom line, without me being so cryptic, is you've got to double and triple check everything when you're going into an important situation, whether it's a meeting, quadruple check everything that you need to have on hand to be able to execute the mission. And so what I would, we were fine. Everything came out fine in this situation, but basically the learning lesson is every single person that's part of a team needs to take full responsibility for that team. So even if you're brought in at the last minute to say, oh, hey, we just need to push this across the finish line, can you please, come in and contribute? Well, you don't just come in and contribute your part. You come in, you start actually politely looking at every single thing that's been done and trying to decide if it is actually up to the standards that you're all shooting for. And in that case, you might be able to catch a mistake, or improve something that everybody else had overlooked, because it just happens that way. We get into this kind of group thing. And then, and lean on your team. You also, if you're coming into a situation where you're being brought in and you're supposed to add assistance, you don't need to come in and think that you're the expert. You actually come in, start asking more questions like, what are you guys trying to accomplish? What do you need me to do? How can I be most helpful? And again, it's kind of doubling the efforts of everybody else by making them reevaluate and explain to you what the objective is. So, big lessons for this week. Double check everything that you're doing. Have somebody else double check everything that you're doing. Double check everything that everybody else is doing, and likewise, and have this constant reevaluation or checks and balances system in place with you and your team, and that way less will fall through the cracks. I mean, this is almost like it's like a software engineering kind of thing where you miss a bug and the whole thing crashes. If you had caught that, it could save a lot of problems. So kind of getting through the rest of the week. Thursday, I was able to, again, I'm kind of following up on everything that I had initiated earlier. And by Friday, I was able to send a key email to a few people that basically resulted in business being able to move forward. I'm sorry to be so cryptic about it, but it's just stuff that's not worth putting into a public post. So yeah, Saturday, took the kids skiing because it's important to, I think it's a great way to connect with your kids. It's not cheap, and this will be the last time for this season. Just sucked it up and did it because, what they're going to remember is that mom and dad took them skiing, and that they went skiing when they were kids, and they'll think, oh, I always went skiing. They didn't know that mom and dad were scraping everything together to try to make it happen. And I think next season, what we need to do is just commit to doing the season passes ahead of time. Saves you a ton of money, ton of headache. And then that's what your plan is. Your plan is, what are we doing this weekend? We're going skiing. And you just do it. And it makes it, you get outside. I picture the continuing conversations that go on the chairlift. You do some physical activity getting down the hill. you hop on the chairlift, and now there's this pause and this quiet time to kind of connect with the members of your family. So I think it's a pretty phenomenal experience overall, that gets you outside. You really can't use your phone much while you're out there, and then you're able to have these moments of connection where you're able to just say, hey, how's everything? Or even if you're just talking about the skiing, talk about the turns, talking about the beautiful snow, the wilderness. Even though it's like in a completely manufactured environment. I mean, you're literally riding a machine up a hill that's been clear cut so that you can slide down it, and half the snow is man-made. But we can suspend our disbelief long enough to enjoy ourselves as a family, I suppose. Yeah, and then we had there was some time to go out and socialize this weekend, which was nice, with some other couples, and as well as the in-laws. So overall, a very good week. However, for some reason, I find myself coming into the beginning of the week, I don't get the Sunday scaries, but I do feel like I get maybe the Monday blues, or sometimes I just feel like there's so much more I feel like I should be doing or accomplishing, and it's really I don't know, I'm very good at getting things started and very bad at finishing. I get a lot of projects started, but not a lot of projects completed. And so I think that's where I'm saying I need to get back to the journaling and kind of following up with my networking, and maybe not be as concerned with being, I'm not going to hold myself back from like studying something new like ChatGPT, or trying out a new platform like TikTok or something like that. For me, new platform for me. But I do think that there is some level of satisfaction, confidence, completion. When you finish something and it's done, it clears up your headspace to keep things moving forward. And that's going to be my focus this week. I'm gonna put that right here, and you'll see it. So it's gonna be, I'm gonna write it down, I'm gonna pin it up there, and it's gonna be finish the job is gonna be the mantra for this week. And I'll check in with you next week. We'll see how it went.